Welcome to TradersArmy.com, defending your right to build wealth and preserve capital for generations to come.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Monday edition of the Daily Market Commentary. I am your host, Chuck Fulkerson. Hope everybody had an absolutely amazing weekend. First off, I am traveling, and I do not have my traveling mic, so I apologize for the sound up front. Those of you that are new to the channel, click the subscribe button down below. I promise I don't normally sound like this. And you can get an update as often as we release these videos. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Not a whole lot to cover today. As we don't have much change, and it's really been that way for a while now. And typically, after I see it that way for a while, then everything goes and changes almost overnight. So that's kind of what I expect to see here real soon. But looking at the S&P, last night we gapped up, immediately traded up on that gap, and then have just really chopped along sideways ever since. Not a whole lot of change here now. There's a lot of people who are big fans of the gap and go strategy, right? Where we gap up and then we continue to go. And last Sunday we had a gap up and it traded up until about midnight. Before then, it was the sell-off for the early part of the week. And without getting much follow-through on this gap, that's what I think could be happening here. So for now, I'm not really doing anything at the moment. There's nothing for me to add. I'm going to leave my buy area down in here. This is fairly far away, though, from current price, and so there's money to be made on the way down from here. I just don't have a clear definitive entry for that yet, so we'll look and see what comes up a bit later. Looking at the NASDAQ as well, similar pattern. Difference is that the NASDAQ and the S&P, if you see the NASDAQ, we didn't gap up quite as much, and we've actually, we got almost to that high there in the S&P. And the NASDAQ, get back to the NASDAQ here, the NASDAQ did not come close enough to that high. So it's actually slightly weaker than the S&P over the last couple of days. So it might be the kind of the way to go if you do decide to hit a short. And I'm not sure that would make sense today. So just, hold off and see what shows up. If we get a move down from here, you could get short on a rally back up. But as it stands right now, there's not a whole lot to do. Crude oil. So crude oil, we've got this little area here that we said could be a potential move higher above here. I'm going to remove this one at the moment, only because we've just been chopping around there too long. There's nothing for me to add on this one as well. Above us, there's a number of opportunities to be on the buying side, right after our contract rollover. But there's no real selling opportunities in this market, especially when I've got no overhead, fair price value areas for me to lean on that are going to turn price away. So I'm going to let this one be as well. You guys are seeing a pattern here. Gold, we're starting to get a bit of a reversal right now in our gold. If you decided to get short at this very moment, I wouldn't be object to it. I think that may not be a bad strategy at all, as gold is giving you a reversal signal right now. If you decide, hey, not for me, you might get another bite at the apple somewhere up in this realm here. Looking at bonds now, bond market. Take a look at this. So we had a dashed line short up here, and we switched it to a dashed line because I didn't like the way that we had arrived into this region. And that's a good thing that we did because price went right through it. So no loss on there. We're almost back to our breakout point in bonds. And if we break below, call it this area here, bonds have another room to continue their falling. They've really been falling, and I don't see that really changing anytime in the near future. On the Aussie, button there. Look for my max myself. On the Aussie, we see that we are, if I put a trend line in here. Okay, I can't seem to, trend line's not working at the moment. Oh well. If I could put a trend line in here, I would connect these bottoms with this bottom, and you'd see that we have gotten a little bit extended away from that trend, but then I've got lower highs right here. So we are pinching a little bit here in the Aussie. If I move this to the 4-hour chart, you can see even better that triangle. Didn't work on the 1 hour, it's working on the 4-hour. Right here, where we've gotten a little bit extended. That was actually the one I was trying to draw before. We've gotten a little bit extended away from this bottom, and we are pinching up here at the top. So this is typically going to be a signal for a bigger breakout to the downside when I've got 3 touches on the top but only 2 on the bottom. So let's just see where that breakout occurs. But it could go either direction. I would anticipate a move very similar to this distance here on the breakout. You typically can take touch point 2 and drag it down. Now, by the way, if that touch point 2 and then drag it, if we break out to the upside, that puts us about here. Imagine that. If we break out to the downside, that puts us about here. And that's utilizing a measured move, which I am not all about measured moves. It's just an example of one of the tools that we can use. The euro has continued its move down. The euro, kind of like the gold, if you decided you wanted to be short the euro on a candle-to-candle style right here, I wouldn't be mad at you. I don't think there's anything wrong with getting short on the candle-to-candle style right below maybe this candle's low, as we're still putting in higher swing lows at the moment, or higher lows. But our trend is still going down. Trade with the trend direction, and then the Canadian dollar, nothing at all that I want to add on the Canadian. No great levels for me to lean on here. Last, certainly not least, Great British Pound, Japanese Yen. Our Japanese Yen short from last week is still working, as it has hit this area, come down nicely. So my guess is most of you, however, did not hold it over the weekend. If you did, you're well rewarded. But my guess is, like I said, most of you probably didn't hold it over the weekend, although you may have. And if you did, let me know in the comments down below. Great. I know certainly I did not. That's just I've not been holding things over a weekend with as much political uncertainty. Great British Pound is another one where we got the reversal and then a strong move down. So actually, the British Pound and the Japanese Yen are our 2 best performing trades, as both of them have fallen off of their levels from Friday. Once again, though, got to be willing to hold it over the weekend. So, as far as today goes, I remain with patience. Patience still remains key. And if something pops up and I am sitting in front of the computer today, maybe I'll throw a little update in Twitter. But thanks so much, everybody, and I look forward to seeing you real soon. Talk to you. Bye.